The dim glow of the laptop screen cast eerie shadows across the bedroom as I scrolled through the innocuous files on Sarah's computer. My heart raced, fingers trembling slightly as I navigated through folders that held secrets I never imagined I would uncover. 23 years of marriage had woven a tapestry of memories. Our wedding day in that quaint chapel, the births of our 2 children, vacations spent exploring new cities hand in hand. We were Tom and Sarah Johnson, the couple everyone looked up to, the duo whose love seemed eternal. But tonight, everything shattered with a few clicks. Buried within a folder named Vacation Memories lay photographs that froze my blood. Sarah laughing carelessly with a man whose face I did not recognize, their arms intertwined, their eyes filled with a familiarity that spoke volumes of a bond beyond friendship. My stomach churned, bile rising in my throat as I stared at the images, willing them to morph into some cruel joke. But there was no mistaking the intimacy in their gestures, the way Sarah's smile reached her eyes, a smile I had once believed was mine alone. A surge of emotions, betrayal, disbelief, fury, threatened to overwhelm me. I slammed the laptop shut, the sound echoing in the silence of our once happy home. How long had this deception brewed beneath the surface? How many lies had I unknowingly swallowed? I took a deep, ragged breath, attempting to quell the storm of emotions raging within. Outside, the crickets chirped their nightly chorus, oblivious to the tempest raging within my heart. Tomorrow, I would confront Sarah. Tomorrow, I would demand answers to questions I feared to ask. But tonight, I sat alone in the darkened room, haunted by the photographs that had shattered my world, wondering how I could ever trust again. The next morning, the sun's rays filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over our bedroom. But the warmth did nothing to thaw the cold knot of betrayal lodged in my chest. Sarah was already up, bustling around the kitchen, her usual cheerful self. The scent of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the house, mingling with the smell of sizzling bacon. "Good morning, Tom," she greeted me with a peck on the cheek as I walked into the kitchen. Her smile was radiant, her eyes twinkling with a joy that now felt like a mockery. I forced a smile in return, the images from last night flashing in my mind like a strobe light. Our marriage had been the cornerstone of my life. Sarah and I met in college, 2 young souls brought together by fate during a study session in the campus library. Her laugh was infectious, her intelligence captivating. We clicked instantly, spending hours talking about everything and nothing, dreaming about the future we would build together. We married in the summer of '01, in a small chapel surrounded by friends and family. It was a perfect day, the sky a brilliant blue, our hearts filled with hope and love. We promised each other forever, vowing to face life's challenges hand in hand. Over the years, we faced our share of ups and downs. The miscarriage that nearly broke us, the financial struggles when I lost my job, the long nights Sarah spent caring for our son, Jason, when he had that terrible bout of pneumonia. But through it all, we remained steadfast, our love growing stronger with each passing year. Sarah was my rock, my confidant, my partner in every sense of the word. She balanced her career as a successful real estate agent with being a devoted mother and wife. Our daughter, Emily, was the spitting image of her mother, both in looks and spirit, while Jason had my penchant for tinkering and problem-solving. We were a typical suburban family, living in a modest but cozy house in the heart of Ohio. Weekends were spent at soccer games, barbecues with neighbors, and family movie nights. Life wasn't always perfect, but it was ours, built on a foundation of trust and mutual respect. Or so I thought. As I sipped my coffee, pretending to read the morning news on my phone, I watched Sarah out of the corner of my eye. She hummed a tune, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. Every smile she flashed, every casual touch felt like a dagger twisting deeper into my heart. How long had she been leading this double life? How many times had she come home, kissed me goodnight, and slipped into bed beside me after being with another man? I swallowed hard, pushing down the bile that threatened to rise. Today, I would confront her. Today, I would shatter the illusion of our perfect life and demand the truth. But for now, I needed to play my part, to keep my anger in check until the time was right. "Tom, are you okay?" Sarah's voice broke through my thoughts, her brow furrowed with concern. I forced a smile, nodding. "Yeah, just a bit tired. Didn't sleep well." She squeezed my hand, her touch both comforting and sickening. Maybe you can take it easy today. You've been working so hard lately." I nodded again, my mind already racing ahead to the confrontation that awaited. Today the facade would crumble, and the truth would come to light, and nothing would ever be the same again. The house was unusually quiet that afternoon. As I sat alone in the study, laptop open before me. Sarah had taken the kids to Emily's soccer practice, leaving me with a few hours of solitude, time I intended to use wisely. I stared at the screen, images of Sarah and the mystery man burned into my mind. The guilt of spying on my own wife gnawed at me, but I needed answers. I needed to know how deep this betrayal ran. With trembling hands, I accessed Sarah's phone records, scrolling through call logs and text messages. There were no obvious signs of infidelity, no incriminating texts or late-night calls that stood out. If Sarah was hiding something, she was doing it well. Frustration mounted with each dead end. Had I been mistaken? Was it possible that the photos were misinterpreted? That Sarah had a reasonable explanation for her actions? But doubt quickly gave way to determination. I couldn't ignore what I had seen. I owed it to myself, and to our years together, to uncover the truth, no matter how painful. Next, I turned to social media, scanning Sarah's profiles for any hints of suspicious activity. Her posts were typical: family outings, work achievements, snapshots of our seemingly happy life. But beneath the surface, I searched for clues, analyzing comments and likes with a detective's scrutiny. Then, buried deep within her Facebook messages, I found it, a conversation thread with a name I didn't recognize. The messages were innocuous at first, polite exchanges about mutual friends and shared interests. But as I scrolled further, the tone shifted subtly, veering into territory that made my blood run cold. Flirtatious emojis, inside jokes I didn't understand, plans made under the guise of work meetings and casual lunches. My hands trembled as I read each word, the reality of Sarah's betrayal hitting me like a physical blow. There it was, undeniable proof of her infidelity, hidden in plain sight. My vision blurred with tears of anger and disbelief. How could she do this to us? To our family? I closed the laptop with a resounding snap, my jaw clenched in a mixture of rage and heartbreak. The evidence lay before me, stark and damning. Sarah's betrayal wasn't just a momentary lapse in judgment. It was a calculated deception that threatened to unravel everything we had built together. The quiet of the house pressed in around me, suffocating in its intensity. The air crackled with unanswered questions, with the weight of decisions that would shape our future. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. The time for hiding in shadows and second-guessing was over. It was time to confront Sarah, to demand the truth, and to decide where our shattered marriage would go from here. The clock on the wall ticked loudly in the tense silence of our living room as Sarah returned from Emily's soccer practice, her cheerful demeanor a stark contrast to the turmoil raging within me. I sat waiting, the weight of the evidence burning a hole in my conscience. "Hey, Tom," she greeted me with a kiss on the cheek, her lips warm against my skin. "How was your afternoon?" I forced a smile, my heart heavy with the knowledge of what I had discovered. "It was fine. How was practice?" She launched into an animated recount of Emily's goal and Jason's latest science project, but I heard none of it. My mind raced, rehearsing the confrontation I knew was inevitable. Finally, as Sarah paused to take a breath, I seized the moment. "Sarah, we need to talk." Her brow furrowed in concern, sensing the gravity in my voice. "Of course, what's wrong?" I hesitated, the words sticking in my throat like glue. How could I confront her with the evidence without destroying everything we had built together? But the images of her and the other man haunted me, driving me to push forward. "I found something, Sarah," I began carefully, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. "Something that I wish I hadn't." Her eyes widened in confusion, a flicker of unease passing over her features. "What are you talking about, Tom?" I took a deep breath, steeling myself against the torrent of emotions threatening to overwhelm me. "I found the photos, Sarah, the ones with you and him." The color drained from her face, her gaze flickering away guiltily. "Tom, I can explain—" But I cut her off, unable to bear the sound of her voice. "Explain what, Sarah? That it's all a misunderstanding? That I imagined those photos?" She opened her mouth, words failing her as she searched for an excuse. The silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken accusations and shattered trust. "I trusted you, Sarah," I continued, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and hurt. I believed in us, in our family. How could you do this? Tears welled in her eyes, her shoulders sagging with the weight of her betrayal. Tom, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. Her words fell flat, empty against the backdrop of deceit that had unraveled our marriage. The truth hung in the air like a heavy fog, choking the life out of the love we had once shared. I don't know if I can forgive this, Sarah, I admitted, the pain raw and unfiltered. You broke something that I don't know if we can ever repair. She reached for my hand, desperation etched in every line of her face. Please, Tom, please don't give up on us. But her plea echoed hollow in my ears, drowned out by the echo of shattered vows and broken promises. The foundation of our marriage cracked beneath my feet, leaving me adrift in a sea of doubt and heartache. As the evening wore on, we sat in silence, the weight of our words echoing in the emptiness between us. The photographs lay discarded on the coffee table, a cruel reminder of the trust we had lost and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The days that followed were a blur of emotional turmoil and unanswered questions. Sarah's confession hung heavy in the air between us, casting a shadow over every interaction, every shared moment that once held joy and intimacy. I struggled to make sense of the whirlwind of emotions raging inside me: anger, betrayal, hurt, and a profound sense of loss. How could the woman I loved, the mother of our children, betray our trust so callously? Sarah, for her part, seemed consumed by guilt and regret. She pleaded for forgiveness, her apologies coming in waves, each one more desperate than the last. But forgiveness was a distant shore, obscured by the storm of disbelief and shattered trust. We navigated the days like strangers sharing a home, our conversations strained and stilted. The children, sensing the tension, retreated into their own worlds, seeking solace in the familiarity of schoolwork and friends. Nights were the worst. Alone in our bed, I tossed and turned, haunted by the images of Sarah with another man. The intimacy we once shared felt like a distant memory, replaced by a chasm of betrayal that seemed impossible to bridge. I found myself questioning everything: the moments we had shared, the promises we had made, the future we had planned together. Had it all been a lie, or had I simply been blind to the cracks in our seemingly perfect facade? Friends and family reached out, their concern palpable, but I withdrew into myself, unable to articulate the depth of my pain. How could I explain the emptiness that had settled in my chest, the ache of a heart betrayed? Sarah, too, sought solace in the support of loved ones, her attempts to repair the damage proving futile in the face of my stubborn resolve. She pleaded for understanding, for a chance to make amends, but my heart remained hardened against her pleas. Each day brought new challenges, new reminders of the life we had built together, and the wreckage left in its wake. The house echoed with the absence of laughter, of shared dreams and whispered confidences. What had once been our sanctuary now felt like a prison of broken promises and shattered trust. And through it all, the question lingered: could our love survive this betrayal? Could I find it within myself to forgive, to rebuild what had been so ruthlessly torn apart? Or was this the end of the road for Tom and Sarah Johnson, a couple whose story had once been written in stars now swallowed by the darkness of infidelity? Weeks passed in a haze of emotional numbness and sleepless nights. The initial shock of Sarah's betrayal had given way to a simmering anger, a fire fueled by hurt pride and wounded trust. I had faced the truth of her infidelity, but now I faced a new dilemma: what to do next? Revenge simmered in the back of my mind like a poison, tempting me with its sweet promise of justice. Sarah's pleas for forgiveness fell on deaf ears, drowned out by the relentless drumbeat of my wounded heart. Late one night, as the glow of the moon filtered through the curtains, I sat at my desk, the laptop screen illuminating the darkness of the room. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, searching for answers, for a way to reclaim the dignity she had stolen from me. I delved into the depths of the internet, researching stories of betrayal and vengeance, seeking inspiration from tales as old as time itself. Ideas swirled in my mind: public humiliation, exposing her indiscretions to friends and family, legal actions that would strip her of everything she held dear. But beneath the veneer of righteous anger, doubt gnawed at me. Was revenge truly the answer? Would it heal the wounds inflicted upon my soul, or would it merely perpetuate the cycle of pain and betrayal? I weighed the consequences carefully, each option a double-edged sword that threatened to cut both ways. The thought of inflicting upon Sarah the same pain she had caused me brought a perverse sense of satisfaction, a fleeting taste of justice in a world gone awry. But deep down, beneath the veneer of anger and hurt, a part of me still loved her. The woman who had once been my everything, the mother of our children, the keeper of my heart. Could I condemn her to the same darkness that had consumed me, or was there another path to redemption? The clock ticked relentlessly in the quiet of the night, each second a reminder of the choices that lay before me. Revenge loomed large, a shadowy figure beckoning me toward a path fraught with uncertainty and regret. Tomorrow I would decide. Tomorrow I would confront Sarah with my decision, with the weight of my anger and the depth of my hurt. But tonight, I sat alone in the darkness, wrestling with the demons of betrayal and forgiveness that waged war within my soul. The morning sun streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the kitchen where Sarah stood preparing breakfast. The aroma of pancakes and freshly brewed coffee filled the air, a stark contrast to the tension that crackled between us. I approached her silently, my heart heavy with the weight of the decision I had made. Sarah turned, a hesitant smile on her lips, but it faltered as she met my gaze. She sensed the gravity of the moment, the unspoken words that hung between us like a veil. "Sarah," I began, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. "We need to talk." Her eyes widened in apprehension, her hands trembling as she set down the spatula. "Tom, please," she pleaded softly. "Can't we just—" "No, Sarah," I interrupted, my tone firm. "We can't keep pretending everything is okay." I took a deep breath, gathering the shards of my shattered pride and wounded trust. The evidence of her infidelity burned in my mind. Photos, messages, and the relentless ache of betrayal that had become my constant companion. "I know about him, Sarah," I continued, each word a dagger driven into the heart of our fractured marriage. "I know about the lies, the deceit." Her face paled, her lips trembling as she searched for words that could undo the damage she had wrought. "Tom, Don't!" I interjected, my voice raw with emotion. "Don't try to explain, Sarah. I've heard enough." Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. The scent of breakfast lingered in the air, a bitter reminder of the life we had once shared, a life now tainted by her betrayal. "I trusted you, Sarah," I whispered, the pain of my words echoing in the hollow ache of my chest. "I believed in us." Tears welled in her eyes, her shoulders sagging under the weight of my accusation. "Tom, please," she pleaded, her voice breaking. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." Her words, once a balm to my wounded soul, now fell on deaf ears. The damage was done, irreparable and unforgivable. The foundation of our marriage lay shattered at our feet, a testament to the fragility of love and the cruelty of betrayal. "I don't know if I can forgive this, Sarah," I admitted, the admission heavy with the weight of our shared history. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again." Her tears flowed freely now, a silent plea for a forgiveness that seemed beyond reach. "Please, Tom," she begged, her voice choked with emotion. "Please don't give up on us." But the rift between us yawned wide, a chasm of hurt and disbelief that stretched into the unknown. The life we had once known had vanished, replaced by a void of broken promises and shattered dreams. "I need time," I murmured, my voice barely audible above the tumult of my thoughts. "I need time to figure things out." And with that, I turned away, leaving Sarah standing alone in the wreckage of our love. The weight of my decision pressed heavy on my shoulders as I retreated to the solitude of my thoughts, grappling with the shattered pieces of my heart and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The house felt emptier than ever in the aftermath of our confrontation. I retreated to the solitude of my thoughts, leaving Sarah to grapple with the consequences of her betrayal. Alone in our bedroom, I listened to the muted sounds of Sarah moving through the house, the clink of dishes in the sink, the soft hum of the vacuum cleaner. Each noise was a stark reminder of the life we had built together, now fractured beyond repair. Hours passed in silence before Sarah finally sought me out, her footsteps hesitant as she approached the bedroom door. She paused, her hand hovering over the doorknob, uncertainty etched in every line of her face. Tom? Her voice was barely a whisper, laced with apprehension. I didn't respond, my gaze fixed on the wall before me. I couldn't bear to face her, to confront the pain and confusion that swirled inside me like a storm. Tom, please, she pleaded softly, her voice trembling. Can we talk? Her words pierced through the silence, stirring a tumult of emotions within me. Anger, hurt, and a profound sense of loss warred for dominance as I struggled to find the words to respond. Finally, I turned to face her, my expression guarded. Sarah stood in the doorway, tears streaking her cheeks, her hands twisting nervously in front of her. I'm so sorry, Tom, she began, her voice thick with emotion. I never meant to hurt you. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. Her words echoed hollow in the space between us, a feeble attempt to bridge the chasm of betrayal that had opened up between our hearts. The photographs, the messages, they taunted me with their undeniable truth, a truth that threatened to unravel everything we had once held dear. Why, Sarah? I demanded, my voice hoarse with the weight of my anguish. Why did you do it? She flinched, her gaze dropping to the floor. I don't know, she admitted quietly. I was lonely, confused. He made me feel alive again. Her confession cut deep. A wound reopened with each syllable. The realization that she had turned to another man for solace, for validation, was a bitter pill to swallow. But that doesn't excuse what you did, I countered, my tone harsh despite the ache in my chest. You betrayed our vows, our family. I know, she whispered, her voice trembling, and I will spend the rest of my life regretting it. Silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken apologies and shattered dreams. The enormity of her betrayal hung in the air like a pall, staining the fabric of our shared history with irreparable damage. I don't know if I can forgive you, Sarah, I admitted, the admission a painful admission of defeat. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. Her tears fell freely now, her shoulders shaking with the weight of my words. Please, she begged, her voice breaking. Please don't give up on us. But the distance between us felt insurmountable, a canyon of hurt and distrust that threatened to swallow us whole. The future we had once envisioned lay shattered at our feet, replaced by an uncertain road paved with broken promises and shattered dreams. I need time, I murmured, my voice barely audible above the tumult of my thoughts. I need time to figure things out. And with that, I turned away, leaving Sarah standing alone in the wreckage of our love. The weight of my decision pressed heavy on my shoulders as I retreated to the solitude of my thoughts, grappling with the shattered pieces of my heart and the uncertain future that lay ahead. Days stretched into weeks as I wrestled with the aftermath of Sarah's betrayal. The house remained a shell of its former self, the echoes of our shattered love haunting every corner. Sarah gave me space, respecting the boundaries I had set, but her presence lingered like a specter, a constant reminder of the life we had lost. I retreated into routine, work, sleep, and the solitude of my thoughts. Friends reached out, offering words of comfort and support, but their well-meaning gestures fell flat against the backdrop of my fractured heart. Late one evening, as I sat alone in the dim glow of the study, I found myself drawn to the box of mementos hidden in the back of the closet. Inside lay remnants of our life together, photographs of family vacations, ticket stubs from concerts we had attended, love letters exchanged during our early days of courtship. I sifted through the memories, each item a bittersweet reminder of the love we had once shared. How had we gone from laughter and shared dreams to suspicion and heartache? A photograph caught my eye, a snapshot taken on our 20th anniversary, Sarah's laughter ringing out as we danced under a canopy of twinkling lights. Her smile was genuine, her eyes bright with happiness. Had it all been a lie, or had I simply chosen to ignore the cracks in our seemingly perfect facade? The weight of my decision pressed heavy on my shoulders, a burden too heavy to bear alone. I needed clarity, closure, a resolution that would allow me to move forward, whether with Sarah or without her. The following morning I sought her out, finding her in the kitchen as she prepared breakfast. She looked up as I entered, her expression a mix of hope and apprehension. Tom, she began tentatively, her voice soft. Are you okay? I took a deep breath, the weight of my words settling like a stone in my chest. Sarah, we need to talk. Her face paled, her hands trembling as she set down the spatula. Tom, please, she pleaded softly. Can't we? No, Sarah, I interrupted gently, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. We need to talk about us. I led her to the living room where we settled into silence. The clock ticked loudly on the wall, marking the passage of time as we navigated the wreckage of our marriage. I've thought a lot about everything, I began slowly, each word measured and deliberate. About what happened, about where we go from here. Sarah listened, her eyes fixed on mine, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The weight of my decision hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that threatened to suffocate us both. I don't know if I can forgive you, I admitted, the admission raw and unfiltered. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. Tears welled in her eyes, silent testament to the pain I had caused her with my words. Tom, please, she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. I love you. I'm so sorry for what I did. Her words pierced through the walls I had erected around my heart, stirring a tumult of conflicting emotions within me. Could love survive betrayal? Or was it a fragile thread stretched too thin to bear the weight of our mistakes? I need time, I murmured, my voice barely audible above the tumult of my thoughts. Time to heal, time to figure things out. Sarah nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks as she reached for my hand. I understand, she whispered brokenly. I'll wait for you, Tom, for as long as it takes. And with that, we sat in silence, the weight of our words hanging between us like a fragile lifeline. The future remained uncertain, a vast expanse of possibilities tinged with hope and fear. But in that moment, as we faced the wreckage of our love with open hearts and wounded souls, I knew one thing for certain: whatever the future held, it would be a path we walked together, step by tentative step, toward forgiveness, healing, and the fragile promise of redemption. Weeks turned into months as I grappled with the aftermath of Sarah's betrayal and my own tumultuous emotions. Despite Sarah's pleas for forgiveness and her attempts to rebuild trust, the wound remained raw, a constant reminder of the shattered foundation upon which our marriage had once stood. Amidst the turmoil, a seed of resentment grew within me, a bitter reminder of the pain and humiliation I had endured. The images of Sarah with another man haunted my thoughts, driving me toward a path I had once sworn I would never tread. Late one night, as the world slept in blissful ignorance, I sat alone in the glow of the computer screen, the soft hum of the monitor the only sound in the quiet house. My fingers danced over the keyboard, a silent accomplice to the thoughts that churned within my mind. I delved into the depths of the internet, seeking out avenues of revenge, stories of others who had been wronged and found solace in the sweet taste of retribution. Ideas swirled in my mind: public exposure, legal ramifications, a carefully orchestrated plan to strip Sarah of everything she held dear. But beneath the veneer of righteous anger, doubt gnawed at me. Was revenge truly the answer? Would it bring me the closure I sought, or would it merely perpetuate the cycle of pain and betrayal? I weighed the consequences carefully, each option a double-edged sword that threatened to cut both ways. The thought of inflicting upon Sarah the same anguish she had caused me brought a perverse sense of satisfaction, a fleeting taste of justice in a world gone awry. Yet deep down, a part of me still loved her, the woman who had once been my everything, the mother of our children, the keeper of my heart. Could I condemn her to the same darkness that had consumed me, or was there another path to redemption? The clock ticked relentlessly in the quiet of the night, each second a reminder of the choices that lay before me. Revenge loomed large, a shadowy figure beckoning me toward a path fraught with uncertainty and regret. Tomorrow, I would decide. Tomorrow, I would confront Sarah with my decision, with the weight of my anger and the depth of my hurt. But tonight, I sat alone in the darkness, wrestling with the demons of betrayal and forgiveness that waged war within my soul. The decision to seek revenge weighed heavily on my mind in the days that followed. Sarah, sensing the distance between us, redoubled her efforts to mend our fractured relationship. She sought counseling, attended therapy sessions, and made every effort to prove her remorse and commitment to our marriage. Yet, despite her efforts, a rift had formed between us, a canyon of hurt and distrust that seemed insurmountable. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, leaving scars that marred the fabric of our once solid union. Communication between us became strained, each conversation fraught with unspoken tensions and the weight of unaddressed grievances. Sarah's attempts to rebuild trust often fell short in the face of my lingering suspicion and resentment. I withdrew further into myself, seeking solace in work and solitary pursuits. The house, once a sanctuary of shared laughter and affection, now felt like a battleground where every word and action carried the weight of past betrayals. Our intimacy suffered, replaced by a cautious distance that spoke volumes of the damage inflicted upon our relationship. Physical touch, once a language of love, became a reminder of the breach of trust that had torn us apart. Friends and family, unaware of the turmoil brewing beneath the surface, offered words of encouragement and support. They urged us to forgive, to move forward together, but their well-meaning advice fell on deaf ears. Inside, I struggled with conflicting emotions: anger at Sarah's betrayal, guilt over my own desire for revenge, and a profound sense of loss for the life we had once shared. Could our love survive this crucible of pain and distrust, or was it a fragile thread stretched to its breaking point? Sarah, for her part, remained steadfast in her commitment to our marriage, her love for me evident in every gesture and word. She pleaded for forgiveness, for a chance to prove herself worthy of my trust once more. But beneath her outward display of contrition, doubts lingered like shadows in the corners of my mind. Could I ever fully forgive her for the pain she had caused me? Could I let go of the need for retribution and embrace the possibility of reconciliation? As the days turned into weeks, I grappled with these questions, searching for answers in the depths of my heart. The future of our marriage hung in the balance, a fragile hope amid the wreckage of broken vows and shattered dreams. In the quiet moments between work and sleep, I found myself reflecting on the tumultuous journey that had brought us to this crossroads. Sarah's betrayal had shattered the foundation of our marriage, leaving us adrift in a sea of uncertainty and pain. I thought back to our early days together, the laughter, the shared dreams, the unwavering belief that we were destined for a lifetime of happiness. How had we gone from that blissful innocence to the fractured couple we had become? Memories flashed before my eyes: the joy of our wedding day, the excitement of buying our first home, the birth of our children. Each moment was a thread woven into the tapestry of our shared history, now tarnished by the stain of infidelity. I questioned my own role in our unraveling, the moments of neglect, the times I had taken her love for granted. Had I contributed to the distance that had grown between us, or was her betrayal a reflection of deeper, unresolved issues within our marriage? Guilt gnawed at me, a bitter pill to swallow as I confronted my own shortcomings and failures. Could I have been a better husband, a more attentive partner? Could I have prevented the cracks in our relationship from widening into chasms of distrust? But alongside guilt, a flicker of hope remained, a fragile ember amidst the ashes of our shattered love. Despite the pain and turmoil, I clung to the belief that love, like forgiveness, was a choice, a decision to embrace the imperfections of our shared humanity and strive for healing. Sarah, too, wrestled with her own demons, her remorse and regret palpable in every glance and gesture. She sought forgiveness with a fervor born of desperation, her love for me a beacon of light in the darkness of our fractured union. I found solace in moments of quiet contemplation, the warmth of the morning sun filtering through the curtains, the sound of laughter echoing through the house as our children played. Despite the storm raging within me, life continued, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In those moments, I glimpsed a path forward, a journey of healing and forgiveness that promised redemption for our wounded hearts. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges and uncertainties, but together Sarah and I could face them with courage and resilience. As I gazed into the future, I knew one thing for certain: whatever lay ahead, our love would be a beacon guiding us through the darkness, a testament to the enduring power of forgiveness and the hope for a brighter tomorrow. In the quiet moments when Tom retreated into his thoughts, I found myself grappling with the weight of my actions and the devastation they had wrought upon our marriage. Each day was a battle against guilt and remorse, a relentless tide that threatened to engulf me in its depths. I had betrayed the man I loved, the father of our children, and the keeper of my heart. The pain etched on Tom's face haunted me, a constant reminder of the irreparable damage I had caused with my selfish choices. Memories flickered before my eyes: the early days of our courtship, the vows we had exchanged on our wedding day, the laughter and tears that had woven us together as husband and wife. How had I allowed my loneliness and confusion to lead me down a path of deceit and betrayal? I sought solace in therapy, in counseling sessions where I bared my soul and confronted the demons that had driven me to betray Tom's trust. Each session was a step toward redemption, a journey of self-discovery and healing that I embarked upon with determination and remorse. But despite my efforts, the chasm between us seemed to widen with each passing day. Tom's distrust was a palpable barrier, a wall I struggled to breach despite my fervent apologies and declarations of love. I longed to undo the pain I had caused, to turn back time and erase the mistakes that had shattered our once solid foundation. But time moved inexorably forward, carrying with it the weight of consequences I could not escape. In moments of vulnerability, I allowed myself to hope, to believe that love could conquer betrayal, that forgiveness was within reach if only Tom could see the depth of my remorse and the sincerity of my desire to make amends. But hope was a fragile thing, easily shattered by the harsh reality of Tom's wounded heart. His silence spoke volumes, his distance a painful reminder of the trust I had shattered with my infidelity. I struggled to find the right words, to bridge the gap that had formed between us, with apologies and promises of change. But each attempt fell short, overshadowed by the shadow of doubt and disbelief that clouded Tom's gaze whenever he looked at me. I knew I had hurt him deeply, irreparably perhaps, and yet despite the darkness that threatened to engulf us both, I clung to a glimmer of hope, a belief that love, like forgiveness, was a choice we could make together, if only Tom would give us a chance. As I navigated the uncertain waters of our fractured marriage, I vowed to prove myself worthy of his trust once more. I would wait for him, for as long as it took, praying that one day he would find it in his heart to forgive me and embrace the possibility of a future together. Months passed in a haze of uncertainty and introspection as Tom and Sarah navigated the aftermath of betrayal and the fragile hope of reconciliation. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to heal the wounds that had torn them apart. Tom wrestled with his emotions, grappling with the desire for revenge and the deeper longing for forgiveness and a restored marriage. Sarah, for her part, remained steadfast in her commitment to change, her remorse a constant companion as she sought to prove herself worthy of Tom's trust once more. Slowly, tentatively, they began to rebuild what had been shattered, a foundation strengthened by honesty, vulnerability, and hard-earned forgiveness. Counseling sessions became a lifeline, a space where they could confront their fears and insecurities and learn to communicate with newfound openness and understanding. The road to reconciliation was fraught with setbacks and challenges, moments of doubt and fear that threatened to derail their progress. But through it all, they clung to the flicker of hope that burned brightly within their hearts. A hope that love, like forgiveness, was a choice they could make together. As the seasons changed and the wounds of the past began to heal, Tom and Sarah found themselves standing at a crossroads, a testament to their resilience and the enduring power of love. They had weathered the storm of betrayal and emerged stronger, more committed to each other than ever before. In quiet moments, they reflected on the journey that had brought them to this place, the mistakes made, the lessons learned, and the profound transformation that had taken root within their hearts. They had faced their demons and emerged victorious, their love a beacon of hope in a world often fraught with darkness. And so, hand in hand, they embraced the future, a future built on trust, forgiveness, and a deep-seated belief in the healing power of love. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that challenges would inevitably arise, but they faced them together, united in their commitment to cherish and protect the bond they had fought so hard to reclaim. As the sun set on one chapter of their lives, a new dawn awaited, an opportunity to write a new story, one filled with hope, redemption, and the promise of a love that had withstood the test of time. And in the quiet of their shared embrace, Tom and Sarah knew one thing for certain: their love was stronger than ever, forged in the fires of betrayal and tempered by the steadfast belief that together they could overcome anything.